Writer's perspective. With me is Helienne Lindvall, a songwriter who sits on the board of the British Academy of Songwriters, composers and authors. Well, what do you make of all this? Do you think there's something in it?
Well, I think if they want to be on top of finance and what the mood of the country is, first of all, they should know that Spotify isn't downloads. It's actually streaming. So I think they need to kind of move forward a little bit there.
Get it right. Okay, but in terms of the tone, I mean, I wanted to flip this round to the perspective of a songwriter, because, OK, we can say, well, it can affect the way economists put up interest rates or down or whatever at the Bank of England. Would it affect the way you actually write something to make it perhaps more attractive to buyers?
I think how you can see with songwriting what is happening in the economy is if you look, for example, at the 70s right. And what a lot of people, in particular in the music industry, would say that back in the 70s, a musician could live on the dole and make music at the same time, right. Which is not the case anymore. So a musician has to, they can't develop without actually selling music. And I think now, because there are worrying times, and then the songwriters are becoming more risk averse. And that's being reflected in music. I would say, I mean, I talk to a lot of people in A&R at the moment where they look at the charts and they look right. at what is being streamed, and they say that what they're getting from the songwriters is very, very much like paint by numbers, because
they don't want to take risks.
They don't want to take risks, and you can't kind of make music and wait for that like second or third album where people are going to buy your record. Either they're going to buy it from the start and you don't get a second chance. And I think that's how that has changed. What
about this word that they picked out, highlighted by the Bank of England, highlighted in the report about anticipation, signaling a downturn in the Nasdaq index in the United States? Why should a word like anticipation? One would have thought it's more of an upword, wouldn't you?
Yeah, unless you're anticipating getting laid off.
Things, yes, of course.
But most songs that are about anticipation is certainly not about being laid off. I do think that also, if you look at the 70s, which were universally quite bad times in a lot of economies. People wanted to listen to disco. They wanted to listen to like upbeat, punk rock even. Okay, that was of course that was commenting on politics, but it was still kind of something that they wanted to have more upbeat music and to kind of take them away from worries, I would imagine. So, I mean,
in terms of what's happening now, though, given what you've said about the lack of risk being taken by the A&R, by the music people, isn't there anyone out there, though, who is, in your view, reflecting the times and saying, to heck with whatever the big music industrial types want, I'm just going to write for myself, and this is catching on?
Well, I think there are some people, as in like in grime, there's a couple of people, like Stormzy, for example. I think when we're looking, certainly not when we're looking at the top 40, unfortunately. I think that tends to be quite stagnant at the moment. But if you're looking at streaming further down the line, there are people that hopefully can go somewhere. And I would think that if these are American studies, in particular, I think that in Britain, as a Swedish person, I would say that the BBC, I know I'm on Sky, but getting the variation on radio that we have here, that it doesn't have to be related to commercials, and that is an advantage for English musicians, I would say.
It is. OK, Helienne, got to end it there. Thank you very much indeed, because we want to see if we can lift the mood now with the